And welcome back to another debriefing. Please be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and like and share. The second test of Turkey's now should be infamous Bayraktar Akinci, its second generation high altitude, long endurance unmanned combat aerial vehicle, firing the Turkish-made TRG-230-IHA supersonic air-to-ground missile this past week was a success. It destroyed a pre-positioned target in the Black Sea from a standoff of 150 kilometers. This second test of this missile has implications, so let's address those straight away. What we're referring to is the Verkhovna Rada agreement that was ratified on February 3rd, 2022 between Turkey, a NATO member, and Ukraine. The accord cemented cooperation between the two Western European nations in the science disciplines of advanced technologies, aviation, and space, as Ukraine Parliament member Oleksiy Honcharенko explained on December 13, 2022. Remember, this was before Russia invaded Ukraine. Now, whether this pact figured into the Kremlin's obviously already planned invasion of Ukraine, it almost certainly was an significant development from the Kremlin's point of view, as the agreement established the construction of two, production facilities to be built and are being built in Ukraine to manufacture the Bayraktar Akinci, using Ukrainian engines. I'm sure to his annoyance, if not his humiliation, Russian President Vladimir Putin earlier had unsuccessfully courted Bayraktar, the Turkish-based maker of the drone, to build a construction plant in Russia. But that seems to have been a non sequitur from the outset. A NATO member providing Russia with an offensive weapons manufacturing capability? I think not. Haluk Bayraktar, CEO of the Turkish-based Bayraktar that manufactures this drone, said on August 26th that we, quote, would never, unquote, supply drones to Russia, and pledged Turkey's support for Ukraine, which is not at all surprising, given Turkey's historical and increasing tensions during the last decade at least, with the Kremlin over not just the Kremlin's invasion of Ukraine, but the still raw wounds over Russia's involvement in Syria, which borders Turkey and which Putin tried to draw Turkey into Russia's intentions for Syria. Turkey, by the way, was the last NATO member state to ratify Finland's application to become NATO's newest 31st member, which it became April 4th during a ceremony at NATO headquarters in Brussels. Signed a bit more than a year ago, the Ukraine Cabinet of Ministers sent a bill in June to Parliament to ratify the agreement with Bayraktar to construct its newest drone in Ukraine. According to Ukraine Defense Minister Oleksiy Reznikov, the drones produced at the plants will be equipped with Ukrainian-made engines, as well as construction of a training center for Ukrainian pilots to learn to operate the unmanned Bayraktar drones, which have an unquestionably proven track record of successes against adversaries in conflicts in Syria, Libya, and Nagorno-Karabakh. The successful deployment of the Bayraktar quickly became a key factor in influencing conflicts from Syria to Azerbaijan and Ukraine, impelling Bayraktar to expand into the global marketplace, transforming it into a major manufacturer and exporter. The battle-proven drone is currently being sold to 24 countries, including NATO member Poland. The company has signed deals with 5 other nations for exports of the much larger Bayraktar Akinci, which fires the TRG-230-IHA supersonic air-to-ground missile. With a wingspan of 12 meters, the Bayraktar Akinci is outfitted to carry 4 of these laser-guided bombs. While Baykar is not the only military drone developer in Turkey, the Bayraktar Akinci, or TB2, has figured so prominently in conflicts that it now spearheads Turkey's global defense export push. Last year, Baykar made up a fifth of Turkey's $3.2 billion in defense exports, according to data from Turkish Exporters Assembly. And as of October, Turkey is expected to net around $1 billion in export revenues over the next year, which is nearly 50% greater than last year's $650 million, with a further 50% growth expected by the end of this year, during which the company's target is a minimum of 30 TBTs a month. The company has said it is committed to investing this revenue into the expansion of additional production lines, which Ukraine plays an important, if not essential, role, as we'll explain. While the Bayraktar Akinci has not been used against a military like Russia's, which was presumed to have sufficient sophisticated electronic warfare, or EW, capabilities, and state-of-the-art air defense systems, that all changed when Russia invaded Ukraine and the world learned something different. Indeed, those presumptions at the time of Russia's invasion of Ukraine didn't seem to constrain the Bayraktar's success in deployments against Russian targets, as we'll also explain. But suffice it to say for the moment, they have proved exceedingly effectual in combating Russian troops deployed deep inside Ukrainian territory, as well as inside Russia itself. As Forbes magazine pointed out in March, the Bayraktar, quote, has disabled multiple launch rocket systems as well as taken out columns of armored tanks and personnel transporters from the air, seemingly with impunity, unquote. The Bayraktar supplied to Ukraine were indeed instrumental in Ukraine's defense against Russian armor and anti-aircraft systems in the first few weeks of the Russian invasion. A first indication that something was, as comedian Lewis Black would say, askew with Russia's air defenses. In addition, the Middle East Eye reported in April that a Bayraktar TB2 was used by Ukraine to hit 2 oil depots well inside Russian territory, which took the war beyond the front lines that Russia had established in eastern Ukraine and sufficiently embarrassed the Kremlin for inadequate, if not downright ineffectual, air defenses, or air defenses that were in short supply to begin with, or in such disrepair that the systems they did have on hand were spread too thin along Russia's front lines at the outset of its invasion, and still are today, as Ukraine arguably controls much of its air domain, and certainly will dominate all of it as Western air defense systems like America's Patriot begin to be fielded in greater numbers in Ukraine prior to its expected offensive sometime later this spring, early summer. In fact, the Bayraktar garnered so much celebrity status early on among Ukrainians that Ukrainians even composed a song about the drone, while allies, NGOs, or non-governmental organizations, and individuals supporting Ukraine launched unprecedented crowdfunding campaigns to buy even more Bayraktars for the besieged nation. Company CEO Haluk Baykar had previously provided Bayraktars for free to several fundraisers in Lithuania, Poland, and Ukraine after they raised money to buy the drones for the Ukrainian army. Indeed, Ukrainian Defense Minister Reznikov revealed in June that Ukraine had received 50 armed drones from Baykar since Russia's invasion, and added that Ukraine had signed a memorandum of understanding for even more Bayraktars, which were delivered in August. But it must be pointed out, Ukraine plays an exceptionally essential role in Baykar's supply chain, especially for the new heavier lifting capable Bayraktar Akinci and Turkey's new unmanned fighter jet, or the Golden Apple, which currently is under development. Both unmanned aerial weapons platforms use Ukrainian engines, supplied by Ukraine-based Motorsich and Evchenko Progress. Now, one of Motorsich's factories in the Zaporizhia region of Ukraine, where helicopters were being repaired, was struck by Russian missiles in late August. That is not where the Bayraktar Akinci Ukrainian production plants are being constructed, which are locations that remain a closely guarded secret, replete with misinformation purposefully spread, specifically designed to confuse Russian intelligence services, as if they aren't confused enough already. In October, Baykar's CEO said construction of initial drone manufacturing plants in Ukraine is expected to be completed in 2 years, despite the ongoing war. He told Reuters at the time that the detailed design phase for the plants had already been completed. Our plan is moving ahead, he stated, adding, quote, and we will move ahead with construction, and within 2 years we will finish it, unquote. The TRG-230-IHA supersonic air-to-ground missile's maximum launch range is 150 kilometers, meaning the Bayraktar came close to its maximum range during the second test last week, but was successful nonetheless, a noteworthy feat considering the Bayraktar showed it is capable of penetrating deeper within its target window, which is not good news for the Russian military, whose air defenses, as we've detailed, are in tatters, with little, if anything, to replace them. Once released from the Bayraktar, the supersonic missile performs a free fall for a set time, at which point the solid propellant engine is autonomously ignited. The missile homes in on its target with its GNSS-supported inertial targeting capability that is resistant to electronic jamming, which, after a year of Russia's continuing failure to capture Ukraine, has had much of whatever EW capabilities it had in theater destroyed, damaged, or pulled back from the front lines, or was just plain pretty much useless from the get-go. The missile basically is fire and forget, and offers the user the ability to use it for crucial missions without having to penetrate deep into enemy positions, although the test firings of the TRG-230-IHA missile have shown the Bayraktar has the stealth to inch farther into contested airspace, which means that when the first several dozen or so of the Ukrainian-built Bayraktars roll off the assembly line and take to the skies over Ukraine, Russia's rapidly dwindling manpower and resources will only suffer further depletion and degradation, at least what's left of them by that time. Presumably, the Kremlin understands this, but what, if anything, it is doing to prepare for this eventuality, which could coincide with Ukraine's expected massive spring, late or early summer counteroffensive, is unknown. The Bayraktar can loiter on station for 24 hours at an altitude of 40,000 feet, carrying 1,500 kilograms of ordnance. The missile is aerodynamically controlled by an electromechanical actuation system and can be equipped with a 42-kilogram high explosive embedded with steel balls, or armor-piercing or thermobaric warhead variants depending on the targets, and are detonated by either a point detonation or a proximity fuse with an effective kill radius of approximately 55 meters and an accuracy of roughly 10 meters. The Bayraktar took the flight from Turkey's Flight Training and Test Center, and the first test of the TRG-230-IHA was launched as the drone approached the Sinop province near the Black Sea. This initial fundamental test occurred on December 16, 2022, when the Bayraktar launched the TRG-230-IHA missile near the Black Sea coast about 7,000 kilometers from Istanbul at an altitude of 7,600 meters or 7.6 kilometers. More than 3 months later, this past week, to be precise, the second test took place. The TRG-230-IHA is an air-to-surface version of the TRG-230 missile that was recently developed by the Ankara, Turkey-based Roketsan to be used by the Bayraktar and other long-endurance unmanned combat drones. Its probability of error, reputedly, is less than 2 meters. The navigation system relies on the GPS GLONASS Global Satellite Positioning System and an inertial measurement unit. The unpiloted drone has a 5.5 plus tons of maximum takeoff weight, of which 1,350 plus kilograms constitutes its ordnance package. The drone is equipped with 2 turboprop engines, which have 2 dissimilar modes of thrust, 450 horsepower or 750 horsepower. The Raider version is equipped with electronic support and countermeasure systems, dual satellite communication systems, air-to-air radar, collision avoidance radar, and an advanced synthetic aperture radar. Both tests were touted as yet another milestone for Turkey for expressly being able to integrate locally built ammunition into UAVs. On April 22, 2021, the Bayraktar successfully conducted its first live firing test, during which the drone was equipped with 3 different variants of the indigenously developed Mini Akili Muhimmat, which means smart micro-munition, as part of a new line of laser-guided and/or GPS INS-guided bombs produced by Roketsan. Until next time, my friends, stay well, safe, and frosty out there. And please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And if you can, donate to support this channel's growth, as we have much bigger plans, but it costs money to make those plans, those visions, reality. Links to donate via Stripe or PayPal are in the description, and any amount helps, and is sincerely appreciated.